All right, hello and welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging and Friends. We are back to playing Call of Cthulhu tonight. We are continuing Horror on the Orient Express. We have replaced Adam with Matt. At some point, we're going to have all five of them together, and then down the line, we're going to get Jen back too at some point. But we got our four. We'll see how we go tonight. We ended with a few of them about to get arrested, and then have to make new characters as they begin a life of I don't know, in a penitentiary somewhere in London or whatever. But yeah, why don't we do a quick roundtable, figure out who's everyone was playing. I mean, Matt, do you want to tell us about your character like now in the beginning, or do you want to wait? It's kind of up to you. I mean, I'm good to go either way with that. We've mentioned your character's name in the last episode, but
yes, Reginald Abernathy.
Yes, but it's up to you if you want to share. But we'll start with Jeremy. Tell us about Joseph Tidwell.
Hello, I'm playing Joseph Tidwell, Staff Sergeant, if it pleases you. I'm a very hideous and ugly man, because I have the Innsmouth look. Like a fish man. Giant bulging eyes, no hair. I'm a very friendly man, I swear to you, like working in the films more than my time in the service. Currently, I'm the only one not at risk of being arrested, and I'm happy with that.
That's true. That is true, because you are shopping for like fruit and groceries and canned foods or something like that, right? So
That's
you'll
right.
be all right.
It takes a lot of fuel to make this body go.
You and Matt's characters will be the anchor of the new party, the real party. We just tested out the other.
I like it.
Just gotcha. Next, Chuck, tell us about Grigori.
Hey, Grigori Kozel, big game hunter, and I'm going to go to jail, and yeah, we break and enter and get what you get.
Yep, that's fair. That's fair. And then next, also going to jail, Melissa, tell us about Pema.
Yes, so I'm playing Pema Namduk. She is a scientist originally from Tibet. I was looking over what I'm good at before we started the session, and none of them involve talking to people in any way, shape, or form. She's really good at using the library and science stuff, and yeah, so this will be interesting.
It will indeed. And so Matt, so last time, this is what we did in the first ep. So we started in a banquet and we kind of did this round table, seeing how everybody knows one another. Your character was invited, but didn't show up to the banquet. And we'll weave you in when it sort of makes sense. But part of like the round table was them figuring out either how they know each other or how they know, well, part of it was how they know each other, but also how they know Professor Julius Smith. I sort of like kind of hand waved. You probably worked on some research, but maybe you can kind of expand on that. Why? So how do you know Professor Julius Smith, who is a London professor, skeptic, kind of in his elder years? He's a widow. How might you know him, and do you have any connections to the current members of the party?
Yes. So Jules and I go way back. Given my expertise in occultism, he and I have worked together in the past on a number of call them maybe cases to come in there and investigate, debunk, or verify these claims. And that's how I've gotten involved in this current investigation as well. I do have a connection to Jeremy's character. I don't know if I'm aware he's there or not, though, at this point. We're old childhood friends, me and old Fish Face.
You're so charming.
So good. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, you all kind of got invited separately just so because you happened to be in London at the right time for him to and so since everyone's kind of connected one over the other, whether it's like personally or professionally, everyone was kind of getting pulled in. So it's possible that it would have been a nice surprise when you see them. Okay, but old Fish Face, is that your nickname?
No, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe.
Fine.
So I do have more than one personality. Maybe that's my other personality calls you.
Oh, nice. At least one of them does, I'm sure.
Yeah. If you watch the session 0 where we did our character creation using the tables, Heinrich's character creation guide, Matt went to Pluto. Maybe he also has multiple personalities, so it's possible that only one of them did, or none of them did, or who knows. So I would imagine that Professor Julius Smith does not believe you. But knowing him, he's he's a skeptical guy, right, about logic, reason, etc. But all right, why don't let's dive in then, so we can hurry up and find a way to get Matt into the game. I have a couple options, so we'll see how it goes, and we'll figure out a way to bring him in. But we started last time. Campaign opened January 3rd, 1923. We started at the Imperial Institute in Kensington. We were in London. Professor Julius Smith, who I've mentioned, was giving a keynote address at the Challenger Foundation's lecture and banquet. You all were invited as guests because you were either friends of his or of his dear wife Margaret, who had passed a couple of years back. So the professor had this long address. Basically, it dealt with apparitions and how he was applying scientific analysis and skepticism to it, and how he was talking about our minds, the way we perceive things, were limited by our senses. And he concluded that as time progresses, what wonderful new discoveries might lay in wait for energetic minds and students of paraphysicality. After dinner, he asked you all to stick back. In doing so, he wanted to ask a favor, because two of his other friends and colleagues, one of whom is Reginald Abernathy, the other is Henry Stanley, who has actually procured items for Smith and then shares like a love of trains and membership in the London Train Spotters Association. They weren't there, even though they were meant to be there. And so Beddoes, who is Professor Smith's butler, discovered in a gossip newspaper, that Henry Stanley is believed to have possibly suffered spontaneous combustion as he disappeared from his dormitory apartment. And he had recently acquired these items belonging to the Alexis family that has some kind of occult history that a few of you had heard about. You went to his home. You met Miss Constance Atkins, who had already taken steps to sort of essentially sell tickets to the dead room or the death room or something like that. Killian, who's not here tonight, distracted Mrs. Atkins with a great deal of flirtation. And the rest of you kind of were searching around the room. You found, it was so strange, you found scorched train track marks, like real life-sized with train track marks inside of his small one-bedroom dormitory. You found smoke and ashy residue. There was heat damage to the wallpaper as well. You found a receipt to a toy train set that was purchased at the Crescent Treasury, which is a pawn and antique shop elsewhere in London. Miss Atkins thinks that Henry just burned up. That's what the cops think as well. They also took this toy train set that he and Reginald were seen hauling up to his room prior to his death, or prior to his disappearance. So the cops took the train set because it's the only thing that had an electrical charge, the only thing that could possibly cause a fire. There's no body, but everyone just sort of assumes Henry is dead. What happened to Reginald is a little unclear. Miss Atkins is not the greatest of witnesses, so it's hard to say. But she did mention that the earth shook, or the building shook at one point as well. So you guys decided to follow up on this Crescent Treasury. You got there. It was closed. There's an old man. It's referred to as an old Turk and kind of taciturn, run the place, but he hadn't been there in a while. Joseph, you went to a grocer next door, kind of distracting them and letting the others break into the shop. Pema, you found an accounting book that showed a toy train set had been purchased from the shop, most likely the one, obviously, that Henry has. And then, as I think it was Grigori and Killian were looking around, they couldn't find any evidence of any other toys. It was just like all this antique stuff. So it was kind of a weird, weird just to see this one piece. As you were snooping, though, a patrolman was suddenly walking up, kind of lured over here by another neighbor, and it was about to peek into the window to see all of these people who had just broken in. So why don't we start there? Did you all did your luck, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, I am over 50. So
okay.
Yeah.
You don't got to tell people your age, Melissa. It's fine. All right, man, we should just stream for the rest of the night. I can't get off stream now. All right. Okay. So, Jeremy, your character, Joseph, you're talking with, we'll call the grocer Augie. I think I called him Reggie last time, but I don't want to confuse him with Matt. So we'll call him Augie now. It's his real name. You're talking with him. He's showing you to a few different items. You look over and you see outside this patrolman. He is moving up very close to the window. This older woman is kind of like I saw them go down the alleyway right there, and then one of them climbed up in, went inside. And so she's kind of just giving the whole thing. And you can kind of hear vague bits and pieces of this, but did you have an idea of what you wanted to do here?
I do have an idea. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take an entire dollar bill, more than these produce would at all cost. I slam it down, I start walking that way, and then I do my best Buster Keaton impression. I dump all the produce in the ground. A melon goes rolling. I go stumbling after it. I trip over. I pratfall. I stand up after grabbing it, and then I slip on a banana peel and fall backwards into the guard.
Okay. So this is all so let's do a test. This sounds like some sort of performance roll, maybe, or what would you want to roll to see your effectiveness?
I don't know. So the stuntman gives lots of like jump, dodge.
What about just something like? I mean, we could just do, if you want, we could just do it straight like a dex test. We could do that too. Yeah,
I'm down with that.
As you want to control your body as you stumble around.
Okay, I'll just roll dex, which I think I just click on it by itself.
Regular
roll.
Just click on. Yep.
There we go.
Okay, 26, under 70. That's a hard success. So you quickly, as Augie is trying to show you, I just got these this morning. My wonderful aunt, she's the one who paid. Hey, where you go? You don't want my buns? And then you.
Oh my God! Here's your dollar, sir. Oh my God! I'm so clumsy. Look at these stupid fish fingers. I'm so sorry.
And you stumble out into the road. You make this big show of like spilling all your stuff.
Oh my God! I'm a buffoon.
And then you see as this guy is getting ready to lean in, the melon comes rolling right underneath his feet as he's leaning into the window. And then, Joseph, you just bump into him, and he's, watch them eating all this. Hey there, what are you doing, man? Watch where you're going.
I'm so terribly sorry. I reach up, I put my hand on my shoulder, pulling myself up, and then that's when I slip on the next piece of produce, and I fall down, and I make sure to pull on his arm as I fall.
Are you some kind of drunk here? What's wrong with you? You've been drinking already. It's only a little hour past 12. What's wrong with you? Now, the rest of you...
We've got a saying where I'm from. It's always noon somewhere.
Always noon. You start drinking at noon. The rest of you see through the window this absolute comedic display happen. So what are the three of you? Grigori, Pima, and then obviously we'll just say Killian goes with you two. What do you all do?
I say we run. Don't waste opportunity.
I say we go back the way we came. Go back
agree.
out the way we came in.
Okay, so that's through the second story or through the back door? Because I think it was someone climbed in. I think it was it Grigori who climbed in the second story, or maybe it was Killian.
I think it was
one of you climbed in and then went and unlocked like a back door. So you want to just run out the back door?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Close behind.
We'll say you run out the back door, and in the time it takes you to run out, did you take the accounting books or anything with you that you found, or did you just leave everything?
They didn't seem very exciting to me. I was looking for more.
I now know the information that I read in them.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what? Go big or go home. I take the accounting book.
Okay. All right. Just mark it down, track it, so you know you have it.
Got it.
So when the cops come looking for it later and it's on your person, we know who to arrest. So you go running out the back, and we cut back to the front, and the guy's like, "Get a hold of yourself before I'll haul you in, I will." And then he kind of just sort of...
Sorry. Please, I implore you, take this half of a melon on me. It's already paid for. I'm incredibly sorry.
Half of a
Augie's
melon?
aunt.
Why are you giving me... why would I want a half a melon that's been rolling around on the ground? What's wrong with you?
Sir, don't insult it. Listen to the man over there. His name is Augie. This is from his aunt. She's amazing.
I know Augie.
Please don't insult his aunt. Augie, your aunt is lovely, isn't she?
Well, yeah, she's quite nice. I mean, she's personality.
And I'm going to just kind of like...
looks like an old hag. And then at this point, he'll get the cop will get so fed up, he's like, enough already. And he just goes peering inside. He's looking around, kind of looks a bit, kind of does a little knock on the door with his sort of like was it a billy club or something?
Mm-hmm.
And he turns around and he says to the woman, like, "Oh, don't say nothing here. Enough of y'all. I don't want to hear any more stories from you. No, everything looks fine, and then nothing's been taken. It looks all fine. Don't be silly. I'm sure everything's fine. You probably just imagined it." And so, like, she starts yelling at him. He starts yelling back. And at this point, Joseph, you could probably easily start just slipping down that alleyway and away from this argument.
I make sure to hand the poor woman who was put down by the policeman a banana before I leave.
It's like, what do I want, a banana? Well, thank you. Oh, God, what happened to your face? She looks up and sees you.
Life.
No, that's not life. And so then you wander out back. We'll say you meet up. You go down the alley. You probably put two and two together, and you all manage to meet up. Having so really all you really found in here was just sort of confirmation that the train was sold to Henry. I think you also found out that it was purchased some months back
From the estate.
from the estate auction of the Alexis family.
Yeah.
And so Matt, just for your benefit, the Alexis family was it's like an occult family, but like the father, Randolph Alexis, died in like 1897 or something like that, and then the son died like a couple years back. And specifically with the son, he was rumored to have they think he was murdered.
He disappeared in 1917.
They think he was murdered, and that people were trying, the rumor is, or at least what the reports are, is that like he was murdered. There was blood and smoke found at the place where he was murdered, and so there's just assumption that someone was trying to burn evidence and stuff. Okay, so we'll say you all meet up. What do you guys want to do now? Still, we'll say just past lunchtime or so.
I'm eating half a melon.
Looks delicious. It does.
Please share. My
Okay.
friend Augie, his aunt raised it.
Well, that
So-
looks delicious.
Yes. We had some information, but no sign of train.
We are certain that there is a connection between this train that was just purchased and that this connects back to a possible other disappearance, which a room with smoke and blood. So that's 2 rooms with smoke in 5 years.
And that was with the Alexi family, correct?
Yep, Albert
Mhm.
Alexis.
And you do know, by the way, there was some confusion last time. That you do know that the cops took the train. Like Mrs. Atkins told you. Like they took it into evidence.
Okay.
So
Well, we go steal train from police, or we go talk to Alexis family.
This might be a grease the wheels kind of a situation that perhaps if we have enough funds or connections that we might be able to get access to the train.
Got a feeling that all of you you're all fantastic people, but I get the feeling that amid a lot of us, we're more likely to have somebody like our mutual friend be able to do that on our behalf.
That is true. He's got a lot to pull with university.
So you want
Well-
to try to see if Professor Smith can pull some strings. You do know that I think it was Beddoes mentioned, or maybe it was Smith mentioned, that they had ruffled some feathers at because of some investigation that they were doing, some skeptical, like the kind of some debunking, and then they were kind of throwing their weight around.
Oh.
They could still do it, like they could still give it a go, but it's not a guarantee.
What about, there's the train spotters group that perhaps we might be able to talk to them and someone there might be able to find a train spotting reason to get access to that train with the police.
That's a good idea.
Beyond good. Practically brilliant. Amazing, Pema.
Let's do.
Okay. So you do actually have a name with this. Arthur Butter was the name that was given to you. And that you have, I think it was Dr. Smith gave you all a address. And it was essentially as a residential home, which also serves as like the headquarters of the Train Spotters
club.
Association. So if that's where we're headed, no problem. So eventually you'll get over there. You get across town. It'll probably take a little time to get there, but it'll still be afternoon by the time you get there. It's not too long. But when you arrive, you do notice that there appears to be, it's a very nice home. And it's 2 stories. You can see there's no gate or anything, but there's a very nice kind of garden out front. But you also see that there appears to be a vehicle, a couple vehicles on the side of the road, which is a little surprising. There's not that many kind of in this area, but you see it kind of congregating here. And when you get up to the door to kind of sort of announce your presence, the door opens up immediately, and it's just like, welcome. We are just on the way. So pleasure to meet you. Come. Oh, I'm sorry. And so, who would probably be the one who's out front of this? Who do we think is like there, like out in front of the group? Who's the face here?
Oh,
I vote the brain trust. Pema.
I agree.
So I'm imagining that she just sort of gets pushed forward.
There you go.
Hello, man.
Good day.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Are you out of town member or something? Are you here for the luncheon?
We are interested in perhaps joining the luncheon. The name is Ms. Domnak. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you, Ms. Nomnak. I'm Mr. Arthur Butler. Pleasure. Hello, sir. Good evening. Oh, goodness. I beg your pardon. Hello, sir.
Sir, Mr. Tidwell and Kozal.
Kozel.
Mr.
Hello.
Tidwell, are you ill?
I'm sick of life, but I'm happy at it.
Well, smashing.
Might we trouble you for a moment of your time, just before you have your luncheon, if you don't mind?
We are in the middle of very, very fast debate. Go ahead and roll a charm test, or something else. Something else.
See, this is where
I just want to burn your luck, is what I'm doing.
right?
So that when we get to the stuff where it's life or death, you don't have it anymore.
You should let them know, Pema, that our good friend Kozel here is a master debater.
Yes, that we are.
I have debated myself many times.
Okay, so I
always win.
Figure out the math on this. I rolled a 39 and I needed a 15, so I'm gonna spend the luck
24.
to make that work.
24 luck. And he's like, well, of course. I suppose more the merrier. Now there's quite a few chaps in here who want to bend your ear and tell you all about the newest locomotive design. So very fascinating conversations that are happening. I assume all of you are avid train goers as well. You have similar associations, and he kind of like steps aside, open, like kind of letting you all in, and you can hear. Yeah, so as you step in, you can hear the sounds of like people, like glasses and plates kind of clinking here and there, and the sound of conversation happening. And as he kind of leads you in, it's a very nice home, but you can see it's decorated not unlike Henry Stanley's home. There's like all sorts of like just train paraphernalia. Like you just see like looks like paintings, photographs, like little models and stuff. As he weaves you back to the sort of dining hall, sort of like where everyone's kind of seated around this table. There's drinks, there's some basic food, and you see probably about 6 or 7 folks kind of all scattered about, and they're like, hello, we've got new guests, prospective members, and they're like, yes, prospective members, we could use a little fresh blood, yes we could. And so they're all kind of, you can see like they come up, shake hands, introduce themselves. They get up to Joseph and they go, "Oh dear God, man, are you well?" So that happens like 4 or 5 times in very comedic succession. You kind of mingle for a few minutes. You just hear various stories. People are kind of making you interrupt conversations. They're talking about all sorts of things. You hear stories about like Orient Express. You hear stories about. Basically, all these new train designs, engineering, also like the like different routes. You hear all people telling different stories here and there, and it's just like these people are very, very into trains. So after a few minutes, like you're given a drink or two.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to try to do here?
I'm going to try to distract them. I'm going to talk about all my favorite fistfights that have happened on top of a moving train. I'm also going to use some of my background in mechanical engineering to tell them about times I've done some repairs on trains. And the difference between doing a quality job versus doing the quick fix to get things moving.
Okay. Those both sound like really wonderful ideas, especially the mechanical repair one. That'll probably get them very, very interested. If you want to roll that as like a as like a skill for engaging with them. Go for it.
Okay.
What are Grigory and Pema doing?
Well,
I will burn the lock.
Go for it. So that's going to be.
We need to make connection to get into police station to view train, right?
Yes.
Why don't he's distracting? I can certainly tell stories about all the trains I've ridden as I traveled the world. But maybe we bring up the fact that we were talking to a professor. There's the professor not liked here. I don't remember sometimes.
He was a member here in the past when
Okay.
he was younger, and so was Henry Stanley too. You would know that both of them were members of the Trainspotters Association.
Maybe we bring up professor telling us about the model train, but it was with the Alexis family, then sold off a few times. We want to see it, but now it is said to be in police custody. And we would really love to see.
So do you say
playing?
this? Do you
No,
say
I'm running
to
this
someone?
by Pema.
Okay,
I want
okay. I wasn't
Pema
sure.
to approve first. I'm really good at shooting things from afar away, but not so much sweet talking train fanboys.
Pema, he was
So-
talking to you to make sure you would
Was.
approve that strategy.
Yeah, sorry. I was right ahead.
Okay.
So
I find
So-
someone. who
yeah, so
explodes.
Arthur will come to you, your host, and he'll say, and he'll just sort of speak with you. It's like, your strange ill friend over there is a very well. He seems to be know quite a thing or two about machinery and such. I wonder if he was an engineer at some point in his life. What about you, sir? What brought you to be a member of the Brotherhood
Wait,
of Train Lovers?
it comes as the two heads, as you say. One, I've traveled many. I hunt for a living, and riding trains through Africa, Europe, America, everywhere. So I've seen many, but more so, I have a good friend, and I'm forgetting the professor's name, but I'll name drop him
Professor
there.
Smith. Yeah, you're good.
Smith, Professor Smith. He says he used to be member here.
Oh yes. Well, he hasn't really attended many meetings since his wife passed. I think he's become a bit of more reclusive.
Yeah.
But
But
yes,
he has
we
been
keep-
telling
we
us
keep in
here
touch.
recently of this model train, this very elaborate, nice model train. We've been trying to actually hunt it down because we all want to see it. And it was tied to Alexi family and then sold off to a shop. And then we're trying to hunt it down. And we found someone who had bought it, but sadly this person committed crime or something of that. I'm not sure on the details. And it's currently in police evidence. And we were hoping that maybe you would know some way that we could look at it, because Professor Smith says so many wonderful things about the set. It's this.
Are you playing a joke on me? Is this some sort of?
I don't know your language well enough to joke.
Translation error. Yes, I did detect a bit of a Russian accent, perhaps.
You're playing his nose on face, yes.
It was a train set. It was taken by the police. Well, sir, I am in possession of that train set. They
What?
actually asked. Yes, indeed, they asked us to inquire. They know how it worked, left, right, this or that. They understand the trains, the modeling, the electricity, and so they asked us as a favor.
So I heard that actually, does it produce actual smoke or steam? Because I heard it produces smoke, but I do not see how.
And you see his face kind of gets a little grim. Well, it does not produce either of those things. It was handed over to my care because the police we were investigating the disappearance of our dear friend and member, Mr. Henry Stanley. And you hear everyone just go, ding, 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 ding. Mr. Henry Stanley, may he rest in peace. Very sad, very sad. And he kind of his face gets a little dark at that point, but they thought perhaps faulty wiring or something of some such might have caused a fire within his home, but I don't see how on earth I ran it once, down to the basement, of course, and I don't see anything untoward about it, broken, anything of that kind. Yes, you're the second person today who's actually inquired about it.
Really?
Yes, yes.
I did not realize the professor told so many people about it. I mean, I don't know why he wouldn't, but it's just not something that comes up in casual conversation.
Oh, no, it was a friend of Mr. Stanley, in fact. Yeah.
Oh, did you have
Mr. Abernathy, I believe it was. Yes.
Oh.
Yes, he's down in the basement now, I believe, inspecting it. Come with me. Come. Yes.
Yeah, let me grab my friend Pema here and our sick Mr. Tidwell. He is the most mechanically inclined. I'm sure he would be very entertained by this.
Now, gentlemen, I swear to you, I shoved chewing gum in there and it worked like a charm.
They all look. Chewing gum? What? Chewing gum? Wow. No, you must be.
I swear to you, in a pinch for an hour.
No, sir.
Not long term.
No, sir, I don't. No. No, we won't believe it. No, we've heard way too many of your stories, sir. I do not believe chewing gum would have done that at all. Not at all.
Emma will sort of link arms with Mr. Tidwell. Didn't really hear kind of any of the conversation, but she'll just sort of come in and just say, I assure you, gentlemen, if he informed you that this happened, it happened exactly as he tells it. And she'll sort of wink and kind of pull Mr. Tidwell along.
And so Beauty did drag the beast away.
And you're like the only woman in the room, so all of them are just like, what? Yes, indeed, ma'am. Whatever you say, ma'am. Yes. So
Good day,
you start.
sirs.
You start moving down the stairs, and like Arthur Butter's kind of talking as you go down mainly to Grigori, but occasionally he'll turn and speak louder so like Joseph and Pema can hear. And he's like, "Yes, to be truth, Mr. Kozel, I must say that running the train didn't really give me much pleasure. All I really ever did was, I thought about poor Mrs. Stanley. He was a good man, troubled man, but a good one nonetheless. He had a very good eye, of course, for trains, for all manner of things. He always wanted to travel across Europe, of course, but he was never able to procure the funds. But that's not the only reason. But the train is also, between you and I, is in a bit of poor taste, I believe. It's a lovely piece of equipment, but it's modeled on a very, it was modeled on a London-Liverpool Express. I'm sure you've heard the stories. 1897, derailed on its route to Liverpool, and more than 100 people perished.
It's quite the tragedy. They made
yes. And it's not the kind of thing that should be made into a toy, I think. Not at all.
No, it is. I agree. It is. I did not know this. It is rather morbid.
Yes, well, I doubt it was of international claim. It was all over the news. I would imagine. I was a much younger man back in those days, of course, and still strange. I was quite interested in it. I've read about it numerous times, of course. My studies. Here we are. And he kind of pushes the door open, and you see this basement that's probably, I don't know, 20 by 10 or so, and the shelves are lined with all manner of train, like different types of trains, engines, pieces for layouts. But you see a large table in the beginning where there's this set that's laid out with these undulating hills and little fake trees and stuff that have been kind of placed here and there. And we see a man, Matt. Who do we see?
Not just any man. No, you see a man, average height and build, dark hair, kind of slicked back, a well-dressed suit. He's got a big, thick mustache, and he's bent over some books, reading some volumes, and he kind of turns as the group comes in and looks at all of you.
Greetings.
Dear God, Reggie. You magnificent bastard. Get over here. I'm giving you a hug right now.
He looks at you and he's just kind of like, Joseph Tidwell? Joey, is that you?
You're damn right it's me.
Oh, good God, man. It's been forever. It's been ages. How have you been?
I've been shot several times, but I've had a lot of fun since then.
Come here. Impudence.
Oh, you smell wonderful. What is that in
You
your
smell
hand?
like fish, just as always.
I know.
Oh God. So
What are you doing here?
Yeah, so Mr.
I'm with
President,
these lot.
you know each other. How delightful. What a wonderful occurrence this is in such a, in light of such tragedy, of course, it's bringing you together. But yes, have you discovered anything, Mr. Abernathy, about the train? Yeah, anything of interest?
No, not yet. I haven't covered anything of interest. How about you, Lot?
And Pema will sort of look at our host and just sort of say, well, thank you, sir, very much for introducing us to Mr. Abernathy. I'm sure you are quite busy with all of your guests.
Oh, yes, we are indeed. You all have been very kind and nice. The stories Mr. Tidwell said, the police don't want the train back. They have essentially, I've given my report that there is no possible unearthly way that this machine could have triggered a blaze of such heat and totality to have harmed my dear friend Stanley. And to be honest, having it here on the premises is, and knowing it is down here has caused me to lose a bit of sleep at night. So if you're that interested, and you have the means, you're welcome to take it with you if you like. If not, you can stay here, of course. I have no problem. You can work down here as well. I'm sure the chance would be...
Is there a back entrance that you would like us to take it out of so as not to interrupt your guests?
Oh, Bishop Walsh, it's fine. Yes, you just go out the front the way you came.
How large is this thing and how
I would say
troublesome
two
would
of you to
be for us?
carry it. Basically, it's a little bulky. Because I mean, the train the train itself is fine. It's just like the track that it's on, because it's like think of it like a decent piece of plywood. It's not huge, but and it's got like little mounds and things like that.
Okay.
Which so but he'll offer to let you keep it if you want to stay and look at it. Either way is fine. He seems to be pretty agreeable.
I wouldn't mind taking a look around for a little bit, and when we've quite finished with that, we can certainly take it up and find a new home for it. I must say it does seem that you are treating this with much more reverence than his former landlady, who just, if I can share a story out of turn, is selling tickets to see his room.
Oh, goodness. Good.
I know. It's so shameful.
That is very shameful, mate. Mr. Stanley was, as I said, a colorful character, but he was worth more than such treatment. That's very upsetting, in fact.
As his friend, you might want to know what she is doing.
Well, I suppose ignorance is bliss, but you have taken that from me now, haven't you, Miss Namdak? I will...
Knowledge is power.
I will speak with the Jensen. Perhaps we might be able to compel her to perhaps remove such a just a tasteless and cruel joke.
She did seem to be attempting to recuperate the lost rent on the room. So perhaps if a pool might be put together, she might be convinced to leave the space.
I beg your pardon. She is making a mockery of the memory of our friend, and you want us to pay her. Is this some sort of... Surely you jest here.
I was just letting you know the reason why she gave for selling tickets to said room. You can do with that as you would like.
Well, you certainly have. So I suppose I shall as well. And you get a sense he's kind of getting a little annoyed, actually, a little frustrated. Not necessarily at you, but kind of the whole situation. He's like, well... Have at it. If I can answer any questions, we'll be upstairs. Otherwise, when you're done, you're welcome to rejoin the festivities above. We are going to be having a small memorial on Mr. Stanley and a few of our friends, and want to say a word or two about him. Be most welcome to join us. Day. And then you hear door open and goes up the stairs, and you all are left down here in this basement. With this train set. So let me tell you a little about it. So, like I said, it's a big hardwood board. It's probably large and heavy enough to need at least two people, you would say, probably to move it comfortably in a way. It could probably be dragged, but otherwise, if you want to move it careful. There's not any like you can tell like the scenery that's been placed on it is loose. Like he put it down himself. Like you can see like little trees and stuff on his shelves that he brought out. But you do see there's like a variety of like these ramps and stuff that kind of creates this altered circuit, and there's this sort of twisted figure 8 pattern that it kind of makes. So the train itself, as you mentioned, is sort of modeled after that 1897 crash. It's the small brown and black train. There's 2 wooden coaches, wooden and metal coaches. There's this massive black engine, and then there's a tender, which is essentially kind of like a coal car, if you know what that looks like. And you can see that each one of them has like a serial number on it and everything. But yeah, this is the train that you see in front of you. What do you want to do?
Play with it.
But that's an option.
Okay. Joseph, you take the train, you put it down, go through the motions, and you see it start to... I wish I had actual music for that. That would have been smart, but I don't. But that's what you're going to
It's
get.
close enough.
So you just see it kind of start spinning around, and spinning around. Anyone else doing anything?
I'd like to examine it closely.
You want to?
I don't know what
pick
that
it up
is.
off while it's running?
Yeah,
Or do you- okay.
as it kind of goes around, let's pick it up and observe it.
Okay, so you pick
Look
it
it
up.
over.
Yeah. Go ahead. Why don't you roll? So if you pick it up and just take a look at it, I would say because you're specifically looking at it closely, you don't need to roll. And then it probably makes sense that you would even notice this too, Reginald, as you notice as you pick it up and you're looking at it, you're kind of sort of pick it up, hold it up, look underneath it. You notice that there are these strange symbols that seem to have been scratched on the undercarriage of each car. I'm not sure
Could
what
I-
they mean. You could try.
Would I be
You
able
could
to roll
try.
something? Like
could roll an
anthropology
occult.
or archaeology or occult or
It would be an
Cthulhu
occult
mythos?
test. Wouldn't
Okay.
make Cthulhu mythos. Occult I would say, but it's probably going to be an extreme success that you're going to need.
Do you point that out to the rest of us?
see here, look at these markings.
This is
I've turned accents changed.
the
I locked my character sheet. Roll. Okay. And I'm sorry, it was extreme.
It's going to be extreme, yeah, for this.
Good God, I did it.
You did it.
Wow.
That's not an extreme test, is it? Isn't that good?
I set the difficulties extreme.
So what's your occult? What's your occult test?
75.
That's not extreme. So occult. So you would need to roll one. So one
It's a
It's a
fifth.
regular success.
So you got a regular success. You would need, so for 75, that's what? A 15? I think it's a 15 you would need.
Gotcha.
Would you like to spend the luck?
It's a lot of luck. It's a lot of luck to spend.
Do you round up or down
I,
on those?
I have no idea. So whatever favors the players is fine.
Well, technically, the math says 19. So, I mean, you saved for luck.
So are you spending the luck, Matt? Or
No, I'm not going to.
Okay.
I can't quite make out what this means. Anybody else? And I'll pass the train around.
I have
Really
no
strange
idea.
markings.
I would like to find a piece of paper and pencil and do a relief etching thing on all the markings. I don't know what they mean, but we can.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, wow. I think he explodes.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
it's the graphic in Foundry of like the four
Right.
skulls to say like no,
So
you
Je-
really didn't pass.
So Jeremy, for those who can't see because we didn't show the time, Jeremy just rolled an occult test in Foundry and he rolled 100. And there's 4 skulls on the display.
Oh
Very
my.
much a crit test. So yeah, Joseph, you probably look at that and you would think that it likely is sort of some kind of it's just sort of some sort of markings that the manufacturer probably made and just sort of probably worn down over time from sort of I don't know, why are they all fascinated with it? It just looks like normal stuff.
It's hobo scribble. They leave those markings to each other.
Same old tiddlywinks. That's come on now. There's more to it than that.
Pema would like to look at the track just to see if there's anything about the track that seems interesting.
Yeah, looking at the track, no, there's nothing that really kind of stands out. There's not there's not too much in terms of like decoration. It's very, very plain. But there is this sort of peculiarly twisted pattern. So the pattern itself kind of looks like it's probably not the sort of the type of pattern you would normally see for like a regular train set. So you can see it's strangely kind of circuitous in a way that most trains are a little bit more kind of rounded or like a very simple figure eight. This is just all kind of sort of, why would anyone do something like that?
I could do the etching, correct?
Yeah, that's no problem.
Yeah, they will also get another piece of paper and try and do a duplicate of if you point out those squiggly wiggly track. And
yes, Mr. Cosell, I was wondering, our good host mentioned that this train is a model after the London to Liverpool derailment that occurred. It was crossing my mind that perhaps this track might have to do with the track that was laid for the course of that train, perhaps. I'm not myself familiar with the accident, but we might be able to find some information.
Yeah, I think we do research because I'm not familiar with accidents, and this seems, even for the British, this seems very extra.
What would you all think of? This might be a bit uncouth, but I am always interested to hear what is said about individuals, and it sounded like they were going to do a bit of a memorial upstairs. Might we want to listen to that a little before we remove this train from the premises?
We can. Before we take it out, I would like to pick up all the tracks, and because you said it's loose on there, right?
No, only like these little trees are. The track is adhered to it.
Okay.
You might even notice like when you it's sitting on top of a fairly nice table, but it's like it's not wobbling or anything. It's a little bit bigger than the table itself, but it kind of doesn't, like, as you kind of reach down, there's a very, very, very slight wobble, but nothing too perceptible. It doesn't seem to affect the track. Who has the train, by the way? Is it being passed around and investigated, or?
I took the etchings, but after that, I'd be done with it. So,
well, Mr. Tidwell did try to look at it.
It's true. You see, this symbol here means that people will give you food. This one means that they're going to run you off.
Is there one for beware of scary dog?
Fourth one down.
Oh, that is good to know.
Speaking with complete confidence and utter idiocy.
You're muted, Matt.
Oh, yes, I know. Come on, Joey, let's go find ourselves a drink while these two go listen to that morbid eulogy.
Fantastic. I feel like drinking always makes morbid things better. Makes everything better. In fact, drinking makes drinking better.
So all of you go back upstairs?
I mean, we're drinking, so yes.
Okay. So you go back upstairs. You hear all manner of conversation as you're coming up, like they're talking about this or that. There's this like lengthy conversation about how like the Orient Express, the train station in Milan is going through these heavy renovations, and like there's this really dry and overly done like discussion over whether or not the new renovations are actually going to improve efficiency, and others like there's no possible way it can, and it already was a tip-top place to begin with. And then there's another man who's talking about how in Bulgaria when he was riding the train, he almost got attacked by bandits. And so there's all these random like stories that are being told. You find yourself a drink, you hear some kind of people kind of talking here and there, and then kind of one by one, like people just kind of go around, at a certain point, and they kind of say various memories about Henry Stanley, and nothing is sort of too out of the ordinary. most of them are like most memories that are shared have to do with some kind of sort of train set. And I remember this one time when we were out on the veranda, we were talking. What was it about? Who was it with? It was Mr. Partridge, old Walter. He's not here. Speaking of Orient Express, and he kind of starts wandering off in the middle of this eulogy. Yes, I heard Mr. Walter there. He was planning a trip this season. In fact, yes. Oh, I suppose Mr. Stanley will never be able to ride as he so wanted to. Perhaps we should find if we could get some sort of memento from this landlady and see if old Wally could bring it on the train. Henry and posthumously traveling across. And I'm like, oh, that sounds like a fine idea. Wonderful, excellent suggestion. And you hear ting, 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 ting. And then, it keeps circling around. But there's nothing really said that kind of sort of stands out as like being horribly suspicious. Every memory has to do with one of their meetings or a train or a new photo or a new design or a book. Like, I should go over to that home because I do think I lent Mr. Stanley one of my encyclopedias on Eastern European engine design. Perhaps I can retrieve it. Would that be? And they're like, would that be untoward? You think if I? No, I could just get another. I'll get another. Yeah. And so but
the love that man had at trains, he'd want you to have it. Why be ashamed if you didn't get it?
That's true. Yes.
Whose hands would it fall into? Some random person appraising his belongings that won't appreciate it, or yours?
Yes, you're absolutely correct, strange yellowish green man. Yes, thank you very much. And so, the memorial is pretty mild. Stories are kind of mundane, and they all kind of meander off. And they half the time they're not even talking about Stanley. But one of them was just like, oh, yes, and I remember Henry and I, we bonded. Yes, we bonded. When he first arrived in London, when he came from wherever it is he came from, I don't recall. He told me about how the station lost his baggage. Can you believe that? It's terrible. And then I told him, yes, that one time I was in Constantinople, and they lost mine as well. And he and I became fast friends. And every time we see each other, we say, they find it yet? And I say, no, they haven't. And we share a good laugh. I suppose we won't be sharing any laughs anymore. Well, Mr. Henry Stanley, perhaps up in heaven, they will finally have his baggage. And everyone's like, to Mr. Henry Stanley. And they follow, and it's all very awkward like that.
Emma would like to try to see if she could sort of drop anything about Randolph Alexis. Just inquiring if he was a member of this group as well.
So you can see that when you do, like a few of them will kind of get looks, and like if you, like if you're just like name dropping, they'll be, London to Liverpool, 1897. Yes, of course. So I did not know that train. Yes, but no, Mr. Randolph Alexi, no, never any association with us. No, not at all. Well, other than obviously the stories of his demise and how the train went off the track in such a peculiar manner. And the missing cars, of course, no one's seen for quite some time. Other than that, no. But no, the man himself, we don't really know.
Missing cars, you say?
Oh, yes. You're asking about the man. You have not heard the story.
I have spent some time in London, but not my whole life, as you can imagine. I have not heard the story.
And they, like, three different guys are, like, kind of pushing over themselves to try to tell the story. They're like, no, that's not how it... No, not that, you fool. Oh, come on now. No. Finally, Arthur kind of, like, takes over, and he's like, yes. As we said, 1897. Very, very terrible incident. Derailed northwest of London. Strange circumstances, as we said. The engine, the tender, first two carriages were never recovered, in fact, from the river. It went over, clear on out, plunged in. Waters were very... unnaturally high that year, of course, yeah. All the remaining carriages wrecked, something of along 100 people or so, killed, missing, etc. Police investigators, they were speculating that perhaps there was some sort of anarchist movement involved. But there's no real evidence for that. No real cause for the disaster was ever really shown. Now, there was a diving team. Yes, I remember the diving team. I'm getting to that. The diving team, as I was saying, they didn't find anything when they dove into the waters looking around. As I said, the river was unnaturally high due to unusual rains in the season. There's been people over the years, fictitious, some claiming to be journalists, that speculated the missing coaches had been carried downstream. However, and they all everyone kind of laughs at that. And like, now listen, my good lady, gentlemen, new friends. As I think we all know, 70 plus ton locomotives at least are very unlikely to drift downstream or anywhere, in fact. Oh, yes. Oh, goodness. And of course there's those who find some sort of supernatural something or other with it, but, whatever. Anyhow, that was many years ago. Was that 20, 30, 26 years ago? Some other disaster as such popped up and everyone moved on.
That is quite a fascinating story. Thank you, all of you gentlemen, for sharing that.
No, you're quite welcome, my lady. You're quite welcome.
She'll sort of look back to the rest of the group. That is certainly an interesting story, is it not?
It certainly is. I have to wonder. I know it's a long stretch, but I do happen to study people to some extent. If I was looking around the room, looking at people's reactions, is it possible I might try some sort of psychology check to see if anybody reacted in a different way than just ha 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 guffaw?
Sure. Psychology roll. Yeah, go ahead. Give it a roll. See what happens.
I'm not very good at it, but I at least have it. Nope.
Gotta farm those. Gotta farm that XP, man. That's how you do it, right?
I know. You have to try.
You get nothing from anyone, really. Some of them are some of them look to be kind of laughing along. Some of them look to be kind of angry at like being cut off when they wanted to tell the story. But you know, you don't really see anything other than that. And then some of them are drunk, you can say at this point.
I'll just buy them another round then.
Okay. You don't really have to buy, by the way. We're at a home, so you just go and you get.
Oh,
there's
I
servants
see.
coming
Of
around.
course.
It's open. Okay. What else y'all doing?
There was Mr. Walter that was mentioned. Have you guys investigated that person before? Who was planning a trip with them?
This is the first time you heard it.
All.
If you're going, yes, Walter Partridge. Yes. He's an association member. He's out. He's currently away. He's up country. However, he was planning a trip on the Orient Express this season, and he wanted to see if the new upgrades to the train can do any better getting through the snow of the Balkans. He used to complain for hours on end about the snow in the Balkans. Never bring up snow in the Balkans around Mr. Partridge. Wally will not stop complaining. You bring it up once, it'll be 3 weeks before he's done complaining about it. Never met a man who so hated snow in the Balkans. Very, very specific thing to be angry about, but yet that's our Wally. Good chap, yes.
And he's planning a trip with Mr. Stanley. Yeah?
Oh, no. Mr. Stanley, unfortunately, would not be someone who could afford such an endeavor. We were saying that perhaps Mr. Partridge Wally could carry a small memento of Mr. Stanley's onto the train during his trip, so as a way of saying goodbye or something like that.
I see.
Yes.
I'm not sure, and I'm just sort of fishing here a little bit, but I'm just wondering if I'm just sort of looking around at the people just to see what I see, if anyone seems to be sort of shying away from anything, or it's more of a spot hidden kind of a thing.
No, that would be a psychology thing.
Okay,
you're trying
that's
to like
fine.
read body language. That's what Joseph was doing.
Yeah. Okay.
As far as Joseph could tell, at least, doesn't look like anybody was, other than kind of annoyed at not being able to tell the story. Doesn't seem like anyone was too upset.
Okay. Can I snoop? Like, can I, look for a washroom or something? And
of course. So you don't have to. You can just leave. Then no one will stop you if you ask for the washroom. You 4 or 5 different people try to point out which direction it is, and yeah, no problem. The other thing you guys can do, you can always do like an idea roll if you ever feel like you're super stuck and you don't know what to do. You can always try to roll an idea roll and maybe get some kind of hint, that kind of thing about what you might want to kind of poke towards. But Pema, as you're snooping around, what is it you're looking to try to accomplish?
Oh, I like libraries and offices. So if there's either of those 2 rooms accessible, not locked.
Sure. Sure. I would say roll some sort of stealth test. Then, if you're going to start going into other rooms where the party does not seem to be focused.
That is a 74 over 20.
Okay, so you start moving into one like his sort of private office, private study, and you hear, Miss Pema, come with us here. We wanted to show you something here. Well, to be honest, me and the boys, we're kind of curious if which one of us you think is better looking. I'll be honest. Most of the time, we look at each other and we see ourselves, and very rarely do we get a women's touch. And so, having a consultation would be quite lovely if you don't mind. This way, please.
Do the rest of us see or hear this?
You might hear it down the hall or something like that.
And so Pema, given that she's sort of like trained in like zoology and things like that, and she is not going to miss a beat, and she is going to go, well, in the zoological sciences, when you're deciding which animals should go into which exhibits, we actually do have to look and try and decide which of the animals are more attractive than the others, because the more attractive animals are going to bring visitors to the zoo. And so she's like making this comparison to them as like animals and like objective ideas of like attractiveness.
It is utterly fascinating, Miss Namdek. Absolutely fascinating. Yes. You know, many animals are actually transported to London here via train. Well, not via train, via boat, in fact, but then via train. Tell us more. And then so like they're kind of fumbling over themselves as they're trying to talk. You can tell it's just sort of like this, like a few of them are ineffectually trying to flirt in a very awkward way. Or maybe Pema doesn't notice that. But that's essentially what's kind of going down.
She's giving the, well, actually, like bookish information in response to their questions.
All right. So what do the rest of y'all want to do?
Ever tell about the time I was in a gunfight on a train?
Oh, God. One time we shot game from a train.
Why don't one of you go ahead and roll an idea roll? So I think it's just an intelligence roll.
Ooh, can I roll that?
Yeah. Have at it.
Ooh,
not bad.
Look at the big brains on Reggie.
26 under 80.
Reggie, you are probably the one that this would probably make the most sense to, actually, because you helped Mr. Stanley bring the train up to his room. You stayed for a little while, and he was you helped him sort of get it in place, move some furniture around, set it up, and everything. And then he tried to get you to stay because he was going to he was going to play with it, and he was going to kind of show you how it works and all that kind of stuff. But you had to leave for whatever reason. And on your way out, you saw the Miss Atkins lady who said she was reading in her study. She's just sort of leaning back, just kind of snoring away. She's got a half spilt like cocktail on her dress. But the last thing you saw of him is he was playing with the train.
The train that we have.
the train that you have. So he purchased it from the Crescent Treasury, who purchased it from the Alexi family. He was very excited to show it to Professor Smith, but he didn't ever have time to actually do it. You haven't seen him since, and all the stories are that he just poofed up in smoke. And the last thing you saw of him is he was playing with the train.
You know, this booze has greased the wheels, and the last thing I remember is old Stanley playing with his train last I saw him. Atkins was passed out. She had a little bit too much to drink, but did you check his residence already, Joey?
Not yet. No.
Perhaps that's the next place we should go. Didn't some fella here talk about wanting to go get a book? We can go get that book for him. It's an excuse to go.
We did go there.
We were there yesterday.
Oh.
Did go there.
Well, I'm behind.
The booze greases your
I'm a day
brain.
late, $1 short here, Joey. Help me out.
I'm sorry. The booze greases your brain. It puts the brakes on mine.
Yeah, when we checked it out, there were the wallpaper was steamed off. I mean, everything you would expect from this train. I can go back.
The
You talked to
marks-
Atkins?
We did.
And? What are you doing here? Pems, aren't you over there entertain those gentlemen?
I was.
Duck and roll. Escape.
We saw the markings on the ground, the effects on the wallpaper.
Do the markings match to the ones on the bottom of the train?
They did. They were measured out. I believe these fellows measured the width between the two of them.
Okay,
Is that the
time
train?
out. We're a little bit off. You guys went to his apartment, smelled a smoke. The
Yes.
wallpaper was like bubbly in certain places. Like there was just like a ton of heat in the room.
Oh,
There was
okay.
ash and soot everywhere. There were train tracks the width of a real life train, not a small, tiny little play train, on the ceiling and like on the floor. That's what you guys found. And then you found the
Yeah.
receipt for where you purchased it.
That's what we saw.
And somebody even reported rumbling and loud noises. You'd
Ashley-
swear that the train had really driven through the room.
Ash and soot produced by a body being burned, or ash and soot from that of a train?
Well, you looked at the train that ran. I mean, it wasn't putting out ash and soot. And certainly not enough to blister wallpaper like it did.
Perhaps we just didn't get the requisite speed that we needed. Perhaps we need to give it another go.
The train has to go faster.
Perhaps we were being gentle with it, but perhaps if he was a bit intoxicated and enjoying himself.
I mean,
Like us. Right now.
Exactly. Let's give it
that's
another whirl.
that's certainly a thought. But if we did what he did, doesn't that also mean we're all going to burst into flames?
Or
I-
we'll just all find
Poppycock.
ourselves on some magic ghost train.
All right,
See,
let's go strain it up.
That is the adventure. That is the adventure. Or there will be a similarly awkward group of individuals standing around finding things to say about us.
I hope
One of
they
those two
mention
things
my
or both will
mustache.
happen.
I'm
Let's
okay
do
with
it.
either.
We all run back downstairs.
Like children
okay.
pushing
Like
each other as we're
children.
doing.
You all push over each other. You kind of stumble. They're very tight, very tall stairs. You all break your necks on your way down. And Killian is the anchor of the party from now on, as the rest of you are gone. No, you make it down, no problem. Everyone's like, "I'm not Mr. Undeck. You'll be back. Yes. We have many more stories to tell you. I have not even told you about Paris, of course. Yes, Mr. Undeck.
Yeah, be right back.
No, of course. And then you start moving your way down. Yeah, you're in the basement again. There's the train. Nothing's changed. It's all there. The sets. There's the big old set. There's the actual track is anchored in. There's a battery that's kind of connected that sort of makes it all run. And the train just sort of sitting there.
The question that reminded me of a question from chat. Was there a body they took out of the apartment?
No, that is the
That's
big
what I
question.
thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there and I know you asked Reginald, or Reginald asked somebody else, but like the ash itself, like there was not nearly enough ash to consider this like a human body turned to ash. It was just sort of like this soot, these soot lines, basically. Miss Atkins thinks that he just went poof up, and so do the cops because they have no other excuse, and they're trusting her that like, well, she remember she said that she was awake the whole time. He would have come down, etc., etc. But who knows? Who knows what's true?
And we searched his books and everything, right? And I don't remember nothing fell out, right?
Exactly. We went through all of them. I remember.
The only thing you found was the receipt doing that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we put all the books back. So we're making sure that we put everything back after Mr. Cozell did the rubbings, kind of putting the order back, and then just kind of like, okay, with more speed this time.
Oh, okay. So you're playing with the train?
We're going to take it to 11.
That's right. This time with gusto.
Who's playing with it? Who's setting it going?
Pema was looking at Mr. Tidwell and his mechanical engineering.
That's true.
knowledge.
I'm going to tinker with the train.
Okay. So yeah, you go ahead. You put the 1 sec. Okay. You put the train down. You kind of hook it up. You know how to run these things. Maybe you've played with these before. Either way, you can with your brain, you're able to kind of piece it together.
Sometimes we have to set up fake play sets to make it look like a real city is being demolished by a runaway train.
The secrets that you can share. I will never look at things that I see in the cinema and believe it ever again.
Okay. So you guys are sitting there, you're watching, it's swooping around and around. It's doing that kind of weird, kind of looping, kind of up on the hill, kind of down, sweeping around the circuitous thing. Then again and around and around and again and around and around. It keeps going and going and going. And then suddenly you all hear sort of the sounds of sort of a little bit of rumbling. You see maybe like some of the models that he has set up on the shelves to suddenly start to shake a little bit here and there. You feel like the ground kind of shake a little bit, but the train just kind of keeps going. And then this huge like burst of smoke and steam just erupts from one of the walls in the basement where Butter has all of his different kind of train models set up. And you see this sort of like shimmering track just suddenly appear, bursting out of it and kind of sweeping from one side of the room to the next. And then as it reaches that other side of the room, it kind of disappears into this sort of other kind of smoke portal. And then you hear, and you see bursting into the room of this 20 by 10 basement, you just see this large locomotive bursting out of the smoke and the steam. You see it kind of pass by, and then a coal car, the tender just kind of passes through, and it just seems to pass through every object in the room, whatever's on the shelf, whatever's on the floor, chairs, the table, and it disappears into the wall on the other side. Then a passenger car appears, just suddenly bursts out, kind of following on from the tender. First of all, I need everyone to go ahead and roll sand as this happens.
Yes.
Good. Yes.
Joseph, you also lose 3 magic points as well.
Do I have magic points?
Everyone has magic points.
Oh, I did good.
As long as you're not going to cast spells, you're fine.
I hate when I do this. I rolled a 0, 0, and a 0 on my physical dice.
Why do you hate that?
Because I always forget what that means. It's 100.
It means 100,
right?
I think. I think it's a crit fail.
Sorry, how do I roll on my character sheet?
I just
sanity?
sanity.
You should just click on
word.
sanity, yeah.
Oh,
And make sure it's locked.
Do you have
yeah,
sanity?
got it now.
Okay.
I didn't have it in. That's makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay, so who failed?
Crit fail.
Crit fail? All right.
I'll put some
Emma?
luck into it.
You can't put luck into sanity. Sanity is
You
just
can't.
straight up.
I will not.
Okay, so
So you
Joseph,
failed?
you just straight
I
failed?
Fail.
All right, Joseph, you're going to take 1 point of sanity loss. I only rolled a 1. So, and then I'm just going to enact like this. I love the Delta Green rule. Is that on a crit fail, you just take the maximum amount of sanity loss, which in this case is 6. So, Pema, the sudden and immense like appearance of this massive train, locomotive first, that just like swept through the room right past you. You guys stumble away. Nothing's getting thrown all over the place, but you just see it woof past, and then the coal tender like that comes through next, and then the passenger star comes up. It's just, it makes no sense. There's smoke everywhere. There's steam. You can feel it in your nostrils. There's heat blaring off of it. So trying to remember because it's 5 sanity loss, right? That is what triggers the temporary insanity, I believe.
Oh,
so
dear. Yeah.
I think you are temporarily
Yes, from what I remember, that is
insane.
correct.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so let's see. Did I actually write this? Okay, so occurs when you lose 5 or more sanity. So go ahead and make an int roll.
Oh, okay. That is an 11 under 80.
Okay, so if the int roll succeeds, the investor recognizes the significance of what happened and goes temporarily insane for 5 hours.
Oh, gosh. This is
so
fantastic.
There's 2 phases to this. The investigator, so in this case Pema, loses all self-control. And so for a short time, I'm going to control your character, but don't worry, like you can still do stuff.
Sure.
But you can't lose additional sanity during the bout, and this is going to last. Oh, this is only going to last 2 rounds. Like if we were doing combat initiative, it'd be 2 rounds. So it's going to be pretty quick. So I don't know, maybe you just like dive underneath the train table or something out of fear. Like you're just like cowering in fear underneath of what's going on here.
Yeah, she's just like we joked. It was just a joke. That's a wall. That's a wall. We're in a basement. We're in a house. This no. This
Miss Pema, it was real.
No.
It was real. What you saw was real.
It's
No.
still here too.
I feed into it. I'm part of the problem.
And
And that's why she goes under the table, because she's like looking around for support and encouragement, and she doesn't get it, so she's under the table.
as the first train car comes into view, it's like the passenger car, I should say, because like the locomotive, the tender already passed. You can see that the next thing that shows up is a passenger car, and the passenger car, like it just kind of slows, and then it stops. And you guys can see that the train seems to be kind of filled with people as you look over, and they're all dressed in like 1890s garb. Like their dress is nowhere close to like what modern day dress would be. Like it looks somewhat like, everything's kind of thrown back. As you're watching, Joseph, you're getting really kind of woozy as your head's just kind of like, it's becoming a little bit sort of difficult. And then all of these people start to glide off the train as though there's like a platform, like right on, like, like you'd be waiting on a train platform. And like they start to swirl around like the room a bit. And you hear things like, what time do we reach Liverpool? Where is the conductor? What is the delay? How has the day become so cloudy and dark? And they're just kind of like swirling around. This other woman's like, is another train following? My husband was to be on board. And you guys can see that there's basically, you can see the full passenger car and then like a tiny little bit of like a secondary car. And they start to all sort of swirl around. Pema is underneath the table, like freaking the hell out. And like Joseph, you're still kind of like sort of spinning in your head. Grigori, Reginald, like the whole room is now filled with smoke and steam. And then all of them start to just circle around Joseph, and you hear like their voices start to shift, and they just kind of like water in a drain all around Joseph, and they just start to speak. And they start, come with us. And in a blink of an eye, Grigori, Reginald, as you're watching all this happening, you're looking down, like all these people just suddenly swarm out. This all happens like, I guess everyone's just sort of shocked and in awe of this happening. Suddenly, just like this, Joseph is not in front of you. Like he's just and you look up, and in the past, so I would say Grigori and Reginald, go, both of you roll an int test, actually.
I pass.
This is, I think it's actually hard, or is it extreme? I think it's like hard.
If it's extreme, I think I got it. I got 7 over 80.
Yeah,
Okay.
if it's hard, I fail. If it's extreme, I fail.
Okay, so Reginald, you keep an eye on Joseph as this is happening, and you see that poof, he disappears. Like they all kind of just disappear, and then you look up and you can see in the first carriage car, there are all of those same passengers kind of swirling around, and you see the bald dome of your childhood friend Joseph on the train in old 1890s gear, sworn by these. Grigori, you're looking, and you can see right kind of sticking out of the wall, barely, just like a couple feet's worth. There's the second carriage, okay, the second passenger carriage, and you see a man is like leaned up against the window on the inside, and he's just like, and you can't hear him, but you can recognize the face as the photograph that you saw of Henry Stanley.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Pema,
Joey,
you're underneath the
where
table.
are you?
So Reginald, you look up, you see Joseph's there, and as you look up, you maybe you lock eyes for him for a minute. Joseph, you're still kind of like woozy at this point, and the train starts to move, like it's leaving. What do you all do?
Is he still not next to me?
Joseph is on the train inside the carriage. He has literally just been teleported inside. Like they came out, swarmed around him, and poofed back inside. The train's starting to move and leave the basement.
Can I jump onto the back of the car, the passenger
You
car?
absolutely can. So you quickly run up, jump. Grigori, what do you do?
I grab Pema
Okay.
and I grab Adam's character
Okay.
and I run and toss them on and then hop on.
Okay.
We're all hopping on.
Why?
So
Big,
you grab Pema, you grab Killian. He's like, no, I don't want to go. He's just all being very flirtatious. His shirt's fine. You just drag him on, and you jump on your boat. Like all of you are on. Like Reginald, you get on first. Maybe you reach back, you grab a hand, and you kind of push onto that first carriage. You feel the whole train, doom, 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 and then in like seconds, you look out the window and you no longer see the basement of the London Train Spotters Association and Arthur Butler. Instead, you just see like this weird gray, endless mist or something. But that's not even something that's catching your attention right now, because you see on the other side of the carriage, as Reginald, you hopped on the back, but Joseph was kind of like teleported to the front. You look over and you can see that he's been like cornered into the far side of this carriage. There's this like walkway. You can see all these compartments on the left, and you can see Joseph is just kind of huddled down in the back. Everybody lose 3 magic points. And then for just sort of like hopping onto the train.
good thing I don't have any.
And 3 sanity points. It's just a straight loss. Okay. So we're gonna go into a structured time at this point, as they are all huddling around Joseph. Joseph, you're still feeling a little kind of woozy. You're starting to come back, but as you look up, you realize you've been cornered. You can see your friends on the other side. They're on the far side of the carriage, but like these passengers are just crowding around you. And as they do, like as you start to like try to push past them, they start to shift. They start to change. Like right as you kind of lose sight of the basement, like their skin suddenly turns this sort of blue and cold. Their hair becomes kind of maddened and more kind of coarse. Their lips and their eyes, their nails become like unnaturally livid, and they smell of this old kind of wet wood, and they're just sort of like And they're like reaching out at you, almost like they're almost trying to kind of lean in with their lips towards you. You can go ahead and roll a sanity for that too, Joseph.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome, buddy. Sorry, that's why I asked who had the trick. It was so close.
Oh, God. Dear God, I'm in hell. This is the end of my days.
Okay. All right. I'm going to put Cillian in this, not so much for him to go, but just for me to keep track of them. So I'm going to use Cillian as my turn marker. So let's go ahead and go in there. So we're going to, so how'd you do on your,
I failed horribly.
Okay.
I am scared out of my
All right.
mind.
2 points of sanity. Okay.
Oh,
Excellent.
So we are now in structured time. So we're going to do, okay, all of you are on one side. Joseph's on the other. He is being crowded by, 10 of these things or so. What do you all want to do?
And I just want to check Pema's status. So at first it was 5 hours and then it was 2 rounds. So is Pema still...
Right. So control. So now we get into the sort of like underlying insanity. So like you go to your temporary insanity. There's 2 phases. There's the bout of madness, which only lasted for 2 combat rounds, which is done at this point.
Okay.
That's when you were hiding underneath. Then there's the underlying insanity. You get the character back. So you have your character back, but you're in a fragile state of mind. Okay. So any further loss of sanity points during this time is going to result in another bout of madness.
Well, I just took more sanity just then because we just had to take another 3.
I won't count that because it was all kind of happening at once.
Okay.
So I'm not going to count that. But at this point forward, yeah.
That just happened already.
Don't crit fail stuff. Okay, so we're doing Call of Cthulhu. So it's basically Dex is what determines. Grigori and Joseph both have 70. So either one of you go in whatever order you want. Grigori, Joseph, you do have control of your character, but there's a mob around you.
All right.
I
I currently failed my sanity. I think that should give you the edge, Kozel.
Okay, Grigori.
am seeing them completely surrounding him, lacking any better idea. I am just going to charge in and just flying armbar.
Okay. All right. So it's the first time we're doing combat. So like basically you can do an action. You're not moving too far. So like you can kind of close and attack. So like you basically get like 1 action per turn,
Right.
and you can kind of initiate some sort of skill. So you're attacking. So you're just going in and you're going to start just sort of brawling, right? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. Roll your brawl. It's going to be contested with their thingamajig. So there's like about 10 of them that seem to be all kind of gathered around. They can't all be on top of them at the same time because of the narrowness of the corridor that you're on. But you're going to be able to get one of them.
Right.
So
Oh, no.
I rolled 100.
Oh,
dear.
God.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, God.
Okay. All right. So you go rolling up and you're about to do this armbar, but as you do, one of the doors in the compartments next to you just sort of swings open at the wrong time as another one of these creatures comes out. One of these passengers pops out and you just get smacked in the face and you stumble down to the ground. I'll say just take a point of damage and we'll say you're prone as you have been knocked down to the ground. And there's now one of them standing over top of you in between the rest of your party and poor Joseph Tidwell. Joseph, you can go as well. You're also in the 70.
Okay. Is this a sort of train where perhaps there are like sometimes you have the poles that you can hold on to, or maybe the handrail up above?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
I'm a big muscular man. I'm going to do my best to get my back up against the wall, hold onto that, and get my feet in front of me and push one of them into the next one. Basically just brawling, but some flavor to it.
Okay. Are you trying to like hold yourself up there like permanently? Like you want to stay up there, or are you just doing this quickly to do a kick?
Yeah, because I want to basically have something to press them into the next.
Okay.
If I can, maybe bowl somebody over.
Brawl sounds great. Yeah.
Excellent. That's what I'll do. God bless it.
You
I
can
have 70 brawl.
you can
Fail.
use luck. You can use luck
spend
on
luck.
this. if you
I
want.
will.
Okay,
I really don't want to fail this.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so there we go.
Okay, so go ahead and roll your brawl damage. And then as you reach up, you pull yourself up over top of the mob for a second with your big old stuntman arms, and then you swing your legs out. You're still in this weird 1890 ratty suit, and you kick. And you kick this woman in this beautiful kind of Victorian dress that probably has seen better days, and she just goes, and she stumbles back. Knocks probably one or two of them down to the ground. And so now on the ground in the hallway between where Reginald, Pema are, and Joseph are Grigori and two more of these that are just rolling around on the ground. And then you drop yourself back down.
How do I click for damage? I apologize.
It should be on your combat tab.
You may not have skills. The weapon added.
Oh yeah, it's just your skills. It's not a way. Do we have it set up? Let's see if I have it set up. Yeah, I have a punch. I have punch set up. You can just use punch. There you go. Roll that punch damage. It's a D3 plus your damage bonus if you have one, which you do.
Oh, there we go. Did it not do the damage?
There you go. You want to roll and then click on where it says in the chat there. There you go. Okay. So you reach up, you just double boot this Victorian woman right in the face. She just goes stumbling back. She knocks another one down. The two of them are on the ground right next to Grigori. There's another one standing over top of the Grigori. There's still a couple around you, but you managed to thin the herd. And you maybe even open a very slight path that someone could potentially kind of get in there. Okay. What about the rest of you? So we got Pema and we've got Reginald. So who's next? Let's see.
I think it's me.
Okay, Pema, go ahead.
So I would like to look around for something that could be used in a sword-like fashion. So I'm looking for something because I don't imagine that I have one on me.
Roll a luck test. Let's see if there's anything nearby.
All right, so let's see. Luck is 36, so that's a 91.
Okay. Nothing. There's nothing you can see nearby that could be used as a sword, unfortunately. There might be kind of like a splintered piece of wood or something like that you might use as a crude club, but nothing so nice as to be like a long bladed piece of metal.
Okay. How about just a suitcase?
Suitcase? I'll give you a suitcase. Yeah, we'll say there is a suitcase. You pick up the suitcase. You can see that between yourself, like there's people on the ground. Grigori, it looks like someone's about to lean down on top of him, and he is between you and Joseph. 1 sec, we just got a raid. Neon Lights Roleplay, thank you for the raid. Thank you so much. Welcome to the chat. We are playing Horror on the Orient Express for Call of Cthulhu, and they are in a pickle, as there is a there are a bunch of old Victorian women that are about to beat the crap out of them on an old ghostly train. All right, Pema, okay. You pick up a suitcase. What do you want to do?
Is this like a brawl that I can just kind of...
If you want to step up to one of the ones near Grigori, yeah, that's fine. I would say because you took the time to pick up the suitcase, I don't think you can get all the way to Joseph, but you could probably get to Grigori.
Okay. Yeah, that is a 62 over like 25.
You want to spend luck?
I don't even have that much luck.
Okay, so you walk up, you pull the suitcase back and you go to swing it, but as you pull it back, it flies open as the rusted buckle breaks. All these old natty clothes just go flying all over the place. Some of them get on Killian, who's like, "What are you doing?" I don't know what Killian sounds like. I don't remember, but like kind of gets all covered on top of him.
She's still freaking out, and so this just freaks her the hell out that she now has all these clothes, and so she's just like ripping them all off of her, and she was useless.
All right, and then we go to Reginald.
Right, Reginald's kind of like frozen, seeing all this. His mouth is gaping open. His eyes are fixated on this, like as the rest of you charge in, and then one of his eyes just kind of goes sideways as he's looking at all this, and his whole like demeanor and the way he's standing changes, and he leans down and he reaches in his pocket and he puts on a mask over his head, and he puts on a wrestling mask, He goes, "Oh yes, baby, the windy, thindy wrangler is here." And he looks right at the ghost. He goes, "Ruffle, it's good to see you again, my friend." And he charges in and does a flying drop kick on these old Victorian ladies. I got some fit to kick.
Oh my God. Okay.
Welcome to personality number 1, the windy, thindy wrangler, baby. Let's
Poor
go.
Reginald. Poor Reginald. So many personalities. Go charge it in. You could probably get one of the ones that's on Grigori now.
All right, fighting brawl.
Fighting brawl. Yep.
Oh yeah, here we go, baby.
Go ahead and roll your damage. They actually can't dodge, so you go ahead.
What? Where's the damage at?
So brawl should. I mean, you could just use punch, which is what Joseph just did. So it's a D3 plus. If you have a damage bonus, it'll be plus your damage bonus. But it's 1D3 plus damage bonus. So do you have a damage bonus? Is the first question.
I don't think so. No.
Okay, so if that's the case, then it's just a D3. It's a cool looking D3, but it's a D3. Yeah, your strength and size are pretty small. You're pretty small. Strength is 50, size is 40.
Hey, don't judge a book by its cover, my friend. I'm the undisputed champion in Chicagoland.
I like how he went real Southern with his elder identity there. Okay. You go up and you can see this one of the ones that Joseph had kind of kicked in the direction, kind of falls on Grigori, rolls over, and looks like she's about to get do something to Grigori. Her mouth is like, as she's starting to lean down. Pemug tries to swing. The briefcase or the suitcase breaks, and so she's just throwing old clothes all over the place. They're just raining down. But Reginald, suddenly you just put on a mask, you run past her, and you just do a flying kick on one of the ones standing over Kozel. Okay. So then these others are going to go. Let's see. So the good news is, don't worry, they're not all going to go because there's 10 of them, but they're not all going to go. Only a couple of them can go a turn. Think of it kind of, it's not quite like a mob. It's not really a swarm, but like there's some sort of kind of swarms. Okay, so Joseph, as you reach up, you pull yourself up, you push, and they kind of go flying forward, but then you feel a hand on your shoulder from behind, as there were a couple behind you, and one of this kind of tall, lanky dude with what looks like some kind of top hat tries to spin you around, and you see that kind of blue skin that's really bright, kind of like the lips are so bright, and he tries to sort of like reach his arm around you. So if you want to roll dodge or fight back, that's your choice, as he's about to try to do a fighting maneuver, essentially, is what I'm doing here. I'm trying to grapple you.
So if I do fight back, I would roll brawl?
Yeah, fight back, you roll brawl. Otherwise, you roll your dodge. And then if we get into, and then we're comparing degrees of success. And so if we tie, dodge. So if we tie when you're trying to fight back, the tie goes to the attacker. If we tie when you're trying to dodge, the tie goes to the dodger. So that's kind of the trade-off.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna brawl.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So then going to. Okay. I got a 12 under 30, which is a hard. So you can spend luck if you want to try to improve it, but if you're fighting back, you would need to improve to an extreme. So
that's
okay.
Not gonna happen.
All right. So you just feel this thing kind of wrap around you. One of its arms comes up under your armpit, and it's just sort of grappling you at this point. You're just like, and you feel you're grappled, is what's happening here. Okay, and then we'll say there's Grigori's laying on the ground. Reginald is nearby. Pema is there. So I'm just going to see which one of them they randomly go between the three of you. It'll be Reginald, who flies in with his double kick. Reginald, this woman who just kind of jumped out of this compartment room, is going to lean at you and try to do something to you. Do you want to dodge? Do you want to fight back?
I will fight back. That's what I would do, even though I'm small.
Okay. Go ahead and roll.
Just a fighting brawl.
Yeah, just fighting brawl. Oh my gosh.
Fuck a punch.
Another 100.
Wow, that's our third critical.
That's the fourth.
100
Yeah.
tonight.
That's the fourth 100
That's the
tonight.
fourth. Holy
Yes.
crap. I didn't get the TPK right off the bat, but here we are. Okay. Well, the good news is that she also failed. So she's not going. I rolled an 85 over 30, so she failed. But I will say that even though she doesn't hit you, like she's going to kind of stumble into you, and because of that, you're going to fall prone on the ground as well, and you just kind of comically trip like with your heels over Grigori's body, and the two of you just kind of land on top of each other. And so you're rolling around on the ground. So keep that in mind when the time comes. All right. End of the round. I can only basically do 2 things per round despite this huge mob. We'll come back to the top. Grigori, you're rolling around the ground.
Oh.
Your nose kind of hurts a little bit from when the door hit you.
Yeah.
Reginald just fell on top of you. What would you like to do?
Stand.
Okay, yeah, you can stand and do something. You just probably can't close the distance to Joseph. Like if you wanted to stand and brawl, that's fine, but standing...
This is spooky. I stand and I start punching things that are dead.
Okay. So, roll a brawl. There is a woman who Reginald Abernathy basically scissor kicked or whatever it was. And so she's kind of stumbling back.
It's the Rindy Findy Wrangler, champion of Chicagoland.
Extreme success.
Extreme success. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you this. This is what's gonna, like, you don't even worry about rolling damage yet. You go to punch her, and as you do, you realize as your fist hits her jaw, it just completely and utterly twists to the point where it's just kind of hanging off.
Oh.
And she just goes, and with her jaw kind of hanging down one side, bluish skin. It's kind of sounds gurgly now, but she just says, and she tries to lean in like she's trying to almost kiss you, but like with her jaw hanging off to the side.
It's not how that works. No, thank you.
Joseph, you're grappled. So what you can do is you can try to break the grapple. You get, so I think it's a strength. Hang on, make sure I do this right. I think it's a strength test for you to do this. Hang on. All right, everyone calm down. Opposed strength roll. You can try this once per round.
I suppose I should try that.
Yes, you should. Okay. All right. So let's see which one you get.
I'll let you know. I'm built like a brick shit house.
Okay. How'd you do? I can't see.
I got a hard success. 39 out of 80.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I was so close to getting a hard success. I rolled a 31 and I needed
Grandpa, you're tough, but you're not hard enough for me.
I am not hard enough. 31 under 60. I am 1 point away from a hard success. So you win, and you break the grapple. You just kind of extend your arms back. His arms kind of fly back. He stumbles. He hits the wall behind. You have broken free. You have some movement if you want to try to like run down the hall and kind of like dodge through the melee if you like.
Seems like a good idea. Get to a place where there's nobody behind me.
Okay, so we'll say you start running in, and at this point, almost everybody will say is kind of in the middle of this carriage hall. I would say the majority of them are kind of on the far side, which is essentially going towards the like the tinder and the locomotive. The other way, which is where there's not that many, like, there's none behind you. Like if you start running in the direction of where your friends got on, like that's back towards the other passenger car. So I think, is it Pema? Who's next? It's Pema and Reginald next, who are both at 50.
Reginald, do you want to go first? Since you're actually effective.
No, you can go for it.
This.
You can go for it.
Okay.
I'm hoping that Joseph is going to go running back to the other car. So I am looking for something to try to like block the door or do something like that to try to kind of have us be in the other cart and try to.
Okay, so you start running back.
Yeah.
And as you do, you notice through like the window there, like when you get up close to the door, you can see there is a man in the window. Small man, not very tall, bald, kind of age. And you can see he's like hastily trying to like open the door that kind of connects these carts. There's like this little passage connection, and he is kind of looks like was some sort of, not necessarily a barricade, but like between kind of having to kind of turn it open and get to the next one, but he's hastily doing it.
Okay.
And as you get up and you kind of open your side, he opens his side, you can see on the door there are all these like kind of etched runes and stuff, including like this inverted ankh. And he says, as the door opens, he's like, through here, quickly, through here. And all of you can probably hear that.
Yeah, and she'll yell and make sure that everybody heard. This way.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's see, Reginald, you still get to go.
All right, so I'm on the ground, right?
You're on the ground.
I'm rolling around, and that's when I first get the glimpse of Joseph. Goodness gracious, Joseph, if I saw Ruffalo, I knew you were nearby. Where the hell are we?
I don't have a clue. All I know is I kicked that woman's teeth out. Then her old man tried to kiss me. I had to
It's
get
been
out
too
of there
long, my
fast.
friend. It's been too long. And he's going to wrap his legs around the closest one and try to like trip them down to the ground.
Okay, yeah. Fighting maneuver. So, yeah, roll brawl.
You magnificent windy bastard. Go get him.
11.
Okay. You, extreme success. So you wrap your
Wow.
legs. You wrap your legs around some other tall man here that's kind of standing nearby, and you flip him down. His head just kind of smacks against the railing right below where the wall is. And you just hear the as it kind of goes off to the side, and he drops to the ground. But even so, you immediately see him kind of turn in this awkward way, his head kind of dislodged, looking back at you. But yeah, you've managed to sort of disable him for the moment, for the time being. All right, so then we'll go to... Okay, so then we'll go to their turn. So at this point, Pema, you're by the door to the second carriage, and you're okay. Reginald, you are still in the thick of it. Joseph, you're still in the thick of it, which is basically right in the middle of the car. Grigori, are you still in the middle of the car?
Yeah.
Okay, so the three of you are there. So basically, I'm going to get two attacks. So I'm just going to roll randomly of the three of you. It's going to be another one on Reginald and one on Grigori. All right, so we'll start with Reginald. Are you fighting back or trying to dodge? Still rolling on the still rolling on the ground. So I'll say take a penalty die to your fight back since you're on the ground.
Is that a just bonus die go -1?
Yeah, roll an extra die. So a penalty die is like rolling an extra die, an extra tens die, and then taking the worst.
How do I do that on the character sheet?
You should be able to, when you go to click on the roll. Where is it?
When you right click.
Right click.
Yeah, right click.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
there you go.
It's got
Thank
the
you.
bonus dice slider there.
Okay, so we go -1.
And then let me know how you do.
Don't know. It gave me 1 star.
Oh, it did that hidden thing. You rolled a 56 under 65, which is a regular success. Unfortunately, she rolled a hard success, and she rolled. So one of these other ones, kind of like that was kind of rolling around the ground, just climbs on top of Reginald at this point and is now grappling Reginald in the middle of this carriageway. One will go towards Grigori. You stood up, so
I did. I'm
dodge
going
or
to
fight
dodge.
back. Okay, so just roll your dodge. Be contested against mine.
Oh, I did real bad.
How bad?
92 over 35.
Good news is I didn't do good either. I rolled a 58 over 30. So you try to dodge. You maybe like you hit that door again. You go to front dodge out of the way. It kind of sweeps back again. But the good thing for her is that like she hits the other side of the door, and so you sandwich yourselves between the door. But you're fine. You're okay. All right. So we'll go to the top of the round then. And so Pema is you effectively, if you wanted, you could just run through, and you're fine, and you're out. Reginald is pinned by one of these passengers on the floor. Joseph, Grigori, you're in the middle, within a few steps of him, both standing. But there's all these other ones around, clogging kind of the travel. What do you guys want to do?
I'm reaching to Joseph, trying to tag him in.
Nice.
Okay. Joseph, you get the tag.
Since we started this off with me in my soldier uniform, I'm not sure in that day and age what of my soldier gear I would be allowed to carry. Like if he was cavalry, is he allowed to carry stuff on him? or probably not.
What kind of stuff do you have?
I would assume just a pistol and cavalry sword. But that may not be
let's
something
see.
they would have allowed him to be walking around with.
Yeah, that's a good
So I'm
question.
okay with no. I'm totally fine with no.
I would say, yeah, let's just say no for now.
Okay.
And we could be corrected maybe if somebody knows for
Okay.
sure. But
If this thing's in the middle of grappling Reggie,
Mhm.
can it really defend itself?
no, it can't. You're welcome to break him free too. Yeah, like you can
Okay.
totally do that.
I'm gonna reach down, grab my brother's hand, put my foot down to this thing's throat, and I'm gonna push down hard as I pull him up.
Okay.
Oh, baby, it's good to be back.
I'll tell you, because she's on the ground over top of him, go ahead and take a bonus die.
Okay.
Do the same thing Matt did, except go to the plus instead of the slide.
Roll type. Oh, I see the bonus die thing now.
Got it?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Nice.
57, regular difficulty. Describe what you do as a success.
I'm using my own body weight. Push down into her throat, pulling him up, put my ankle deep into her throat, and pushing it as far as I can, dislocating the skull in a horrific fashion.
Mm-hmm. So she's laying on the ground. You hear that, but then you see those eyes just sort of move up to the side and look at you, and then the body still kind of is trying to get up and move a bit. But you've freed Reginald. Reginald's no longer grappled. He's still prone, but he's no longer grappled. So he's definitely free, and she has been disabled. Grigori, you just saw this happen. Reginald is no longer pinned. Pima and this other random dude at the other side of the train is shouting. What do you want to do?
Yeah, well, I was going to try and help Reginald, but Joseph's got it. So I run over to where Pima and this rando is.
Okay, so if you're just running, I would say you're good to go. There's enough chaos here that you can probably get by.
Okay.
And so, yeah, you make it over. No issues whatsoever. Then Pima and Reginald. What do you two want to do?
Pema is, running with Grigori to the other car.
Okay, so the two of you you're just fleeing into the other car. That's fine. He's like, inside, quickly. And he's kind of shouting. He's like, you fools, quit your lollygagging. Get over here now. I feel dirty about doing that, but at the same time, I feel like the word makes sense in the situation.
It is time
Go ahead.
appropriate.
Go ahead, Reginald. What would you like to do?
Can I grab Joseph and take him with me?
Yeah,
Through
so
the
you can
door?
Get up. I don't think you. I think because you have to get up and run. I don't think you can get all the way to the door. You guys are probably gonna have to suffer another round
Okay.
of attacks, but I think you can get most of the way there.
I'm not one to normally run from a fight, but this is some freaky fit.
Freaky what?
Freaky fit.
I love your new voice. It's so good. Okay, so good, so great. You've taken the deep southern and you've added something to it. There's so much texture. Okay, so the two of you are the only ones behind. So the two of you are going to get to hits. So one on Joseph. Fight back or dodge.
You know what? If you're trying to pull me away to actually get out of there, I'll actually try to dodge. If you're trying to
Okay.
have us avoid this.
All right. Go ahead and give it a roll.
Where's that at? There you are, dodge. Yeah.
Okay, I failed. I rolled a 94. You succeeded. You're very easily able to definitely kind of move out of the way and just sort of smash this kind of stout, portly fellow like into the window.
We somehow
Man.
Irish whip ourselves towards the next car.
Then Reginald, are you dodging or are you fighting back? It's
Sorry.
Matt.
I was
Coughs a bit.
coughing
Yeah.
and laughing. Dodging or fighting?
Yeah.
Did Joseph, he dodged or did he fight?
He dodged. Yeah.
I dodged.
I will follow suit and I will dodge.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
So I have to roll dodge.
Yeah. Oh man.
My dodge is much lower than my fight. Maybe I should fight. I'm gonna fight.
Okay.
Regular
Maybe not.
success.
Okay, I rolled a 98. I rolled even worse than Joseph. I rolled a 94 to 98. And so, Joseph, you smash one of the wall, like into the window. Reginald, you smash one. You take the door of like this guy's kind of been flopping around as the compartment. You just kind of do the classic, put the head inside, and then just slam the door on it. And then at this point, I'll say the two of you are free to just run as your turns are going to come around. You just keep running. and we'll say you're able to make it through. As you run past this door, you definitely see that there are these like runes and something that kind of carved in the door. And as you come up to it, you can tell that all these passengers start kind of chasing after you, and then they stop, as if like something about those runes on the door prevents them from kind of pushing through. And as you're all kind of catching your breath, this short man with a bald head of some age, he kind of turns to you all and he says, welcome to the 9:15 a.m. to Liverpool. Although we are currently running rather late. My name is Randolph Alexis. And we'll go ahead and stop there, I think, for tonight, as we're right at our time.
Okay.
Oh.
Awesome.
I recognize that name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Cool. So hopefully you guys have been marking your skill rolls that you've passed without using luck. So don't forget you can sort of, that's how you advance. So if you haven't been doing that, haha, sucker. But yeah, why don't we do a round table to close it down, and then we can get on out of here. But yeah, you guys have found Randolph Alexis, as you know. You heard the name, Alexis family, etc., etc. So you have Randolph.
Did I hear you correctly say that when we were still in the basement and we saw the train go by, that we saw an individual that looked like Mr. Stanley in one of the windows? I heard that correctly.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Just making sure, because my character was in a bout of madness. So I just wanted to make sure that Melissa heard that right.
Sure. No, you definitely heard that. I think it was Grigori who saw that.
Yeah.
Reginald was keeping an eye on Joseph. Grigori saw the other guy, and then you were cowering beneath the table.
I was.
All right, let's do our little closing round table, and we'll get out of here. Jeremy, tell us about this Patreon, man.
Yeah, Aaron Reese on Patreon. You've got comics, maps, tokens, other fun stuff. Check it out.
Fantastic. Chuck, what's going on with DOK this week?
Oh, let's see. Wednesday over on our Twitch channel, Defenders of Cobalt. We've got Alien, All Fear the Ishtar. We're playing Space Pirates. Jeff and Jeremy are in that. Things are wild. There's a synth melted whale lawyer. It's a lot of fun. Fridays we are doing Heart. Joe's running that. What else do we got? Oh, our news show that we got every Tuesday on our YouTube, or every Tuesday and Thursday on our YouTube. We got a new Pathfinder 2nd Edition game, playing Age of Ashes as an entirely goblin party in 20-minute episodes. So it's nice and easy to keep up on. Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see. I'll cover Melissa in a sec, but let's go to Matt. Matt, what do you got going on, man?
Thursday nights on Garblike Games, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can join myself, Jeff, and Jeremy. I was going to call you Joseph, Jeremy. As we're playing Actun Cthulhu. We're playing the Shadows of Atlantis campaign. We're 3/4 of the way through that. So yeah, join us for that. It's been a lot of fun. If you like pulp action adventure and Hellboy, it's that.
Yep. And marmots. If you like marmots, you will also enjoy
And talking
marmots. Talking marmots. You smoke a lot.
Artist in
and
their
baguettes.
class.
If you really like baguettes and don't think France is a real place, you will definitely like that stream. Lost Tribes Gaming. This is only a second session, so we're only two episodes in. We have a long way to go. Probably going to be at this Horror on the Express game for a very long time. But as for Melissa and I here on Adventures in Lollygagging, tomorrow night, our buddy Steven is starting a brand new game as we're going to be playing some Forbidden Lands. So come on, check that out. Not only that, but we're going to be giving away some dice that night too. So if you want to come hang out tomorrow night and possibly win some possibly real gold dice from our friends at Norse Foundry, I've been saying that we haven't been told they're not real gold, but they're probably not. But come win some dice. Then on, let's see what's next. Friday, we're going to be starting up some Conan as our buddy Aaron is going to be shifting over into the GM seat, and he's going to be running us through some Conan for 2D20 system. Saturday, we're going to be back to One Ring, 2nd edition, continuing that. And then next Monday, Holler, as we alternate every Monday between Holler and Horror on the Orient Express. But thank you to everyone who hung out tonight. Thank you for the raid. Thank you for the bits. Follow the channel if you don't mind. If not, that's cool too. Go follow Chuck's channel. Go follow Garblike Games as well. See all these people, what they're doing. I'm going to go ahead and raid somebody and sort of pay it forward here. What do we want to do? Let's do, I don't know. Let's do some dork tales. Let's do some dork tales. There we go. So I'm going to gear that up. Go ahead and click on the raid when it pops up. And we'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.